There's a common saying in Ghana that funeral jollof is nicer than all types of jollof. I don't know how true this is, but let me take you through a cooking process of a funeral jollof for 70 people made by my mom. I'll leave all the descriptions and the measurements of things that she used in the description box below, so don't forget to check it out. So we started by adding some curry powder and then smoked mackerel, popularly known in Ghana as salmon. We're also going to be using 3 bags of rice, as you can see here. This is 4 cans of mackerel, canned mackerel. We're also going to be adding that to it. If you have ever been to a Ghanaian funeral, you know that food is an important part of the festivity. Even though we are mourning and we are sad and we are sending the person to a different world that we have no idea about. So people come expecting to be fed. And if you organize a funeral where the food is not enough or the food is not nice or people don't get enough food, they're actually going to criticize you for it. So people pay close attention to that when they are making preparations for the funeral. So you allow the smoked mackerel to brown a bit before you go in, and then you add the canned mackerel. I didn't get a video of adding it to it, but it has been added at this point. You're going to stir this and let it sit for about 5 minutes. You have to make sure you are stirring it continuously, otherwise it's going to burn. The heat is a bit high, but it's for a good purpose. You get to a point where you're going to lower the heat. So you're going to just, stir this for a minute or 5 minutes, and then you're going to add in your pepper mix. For our pepper mix, we went very early to the market to get the ingredients. We went to Race Course, and everything was blended over there. So this has pepper, onions, ginger, tomatoes, garlic, green pepper, and then green pepper, and then spring onions. I'll list the ingredients in the description, but this is what it has. And trust me, if you have not used this combo before in making a pepper mix, try it. You're going to enjoy it. You're also going to be using 4 of these cans of tomato paste. You're going to add that into the stew. It's for a lot of people, so you might think it's a lot, but trust me, it's enough. So we're going to add this. I'm adding all the measurements and the things we use so that if you do decide to replicate it, you'll be able to do that. So we're going to give this a very good mix. You can see that the stew is already coming together beautifully. Now for seasoning, whatever seasoning you use for your jollof is nice. This is seasoning cube. We also added in some basil, also known as akoko mesa. I wasn't able to capture that side, but whatever seasoning you use for your jollof, you can go ahead and then add it to it. So at this point, we are almost done with everything. We're not going to add salt because it's going to be used for jollof. So when we add the water and the stock and everything else, then we're going to adjust the salt. So we're going to let this sit for about an hour. For jollof stew, the nicer the stew, the nicer the jollof. So you have to let the stew actually cook. Don't be in a hurry to finish it off. So I didn't get the final bit, but this is how it was when I took it for the last time. What's jollof without chicken? So for the chicken, we bought some chicken thighs and then the drumsticks. For the chicken thighs, they cut each chicken thigh into 4 pieces. The chicken drumsticks, we didn't do anything to it. And for seasoning, the OG of Ghanaian seasoning, our moms always use Egye. It's a natural spice. Also use some adobo, Maggi seasoning. So Adja just helps with the color. Sometimes you may just want to change the color a bit. So this is the Adja she's adding. Now this is the Jawari, and then she's adding all the other spices, and then we're going to mix all of that by adding our onion mix. I was about to be pepper mix. I think it's a pepper mix because there's pepper in it. We just wanted it to be a bit spicy. So it has onions, it has ginger, it has garlic, it has a bit of pepper, and then spring onions. That is what she used to season this. And I'm going to keep this overnight so that it can marinate properly. If you've ever cooked chicken, you know that when you let it marinate for some hours or overnight, the chicken is able to absorb the flavors better than if you just do it right now and then you cook it or you fry it. So we're going to keep the stew and the marinated chicken overnight, and early the next morning we are going to start. So this is the chicken. It was cooked. When I go here, they had already started because I wasn't able to wake up at the same time as they were waking up. But this is the chicken. You can see how good it's looking. And trust me, that chicken stock tasted so good because it had marinated overnight. The chicken also tasted so good. So after it's taken out of the stock, we are going to fry it. I didn't get the frying bits, but then after this section, I think it's pretty easy what you have to do next. So just pour your oil into your pan and then fry the chicken till it's golden brown. Now let's get to the jollof. So we did not make the jollof in the same pot we made the stew because it was already burnt down there, right? So we used a different pot. My mom added the chicken stock from the cooking of the chicken and then added the stew. So what she did was that she divided the jollof into two, because this container could not contain the whole 3 packs, right? So this is half of the stew. She added half of the stew to this pot and then added half of the chicken stock. I think more than half of the chicken stock, because we used this pot to cook 2 of the bags. And so this is what she's doing, adding the stew to it and the stock, and then she's going to add some water. So this is more of the stock. Before you add water, make sure you have enough stock so that you know exactly how much water you're supposed to add, because the stock is going to elevate the taste more. The water is just going to dilute the stew. So I would advise you add in the stock before you add in the water. So here she's adding in the water. She added 4 of these cups into the water, and then she added the rice. So the trick is, with rice, the more water you add, the softer it becomes. I know you have people that like soft rice, you have people that like hard rice, and people that like in between. We also adjusted the salt, because at this point you've added in the stock, the stew, the water, so you already know how it is tasting like. So we added the salt in there, and then we added a little bit of seasoning to adjust it, because when we added the water in, the taste was a bit diluted. But if the seasoning you added to your stew is enough, you don't have to do all of this. So we're going to give this a very good mix. And then I'm coming to add in the rice. So for the rice, we are going to use 2 bags in this particular container, and then use the other part of the stew to cook the last bit. One thing about cooking in another saying is that you don't want the rice to be too much. Otherwise, you would finish cooking the rice and then half of it is cooked, half of it is so soft, and then quarter of it is not even properly cooked. So you want to leave a lot of room or space. So you can see that what we're cooking is like half of the pan. You would think it's small, but once the rice is finished, it will almost be at the top. So you want to give enough room for the rice to be cooked properly. So we are adding the rice to it, and then we're going to be giving this a very good stir, and we are almost done, right? We're almost done. Just that you're going to have to reduce. You can see that the heat is a bit too much. You're going to reduce that, and then just leave the rice to be on fire. Don't rush it. One thing about jollof, you just give it time, okay? Low heat, cover it, turn it um occasionally, so that it does not burn, and you are good to go. Too much heat and you're going to just get canzo that you cannot even eat, and we don't want that. This is for 70 people. You want to make sure that it can actually serve 70 people. So after that, we're going to just cover it. And this was about 2 hours later. The rice was ready. You can see it's looking so good. Honestly speaking, I went back to sleep after they put the rice in, so I wasn't able to record the process of them turning the rice over and over. But I was able to capture the end result, and we can see that the rice is looking beautiful. So one thing about this is that you also don't serve the rice hot like this. Usually, when my mom is done, they are going to take everything and then put it into a big pan and allow it to cool before they serve, because sometimes if you serve it too hot, the rice starts breaking. So this is the chicken. It's also looking very good. So we had fried chicken, and then they also had some grilled chicken with the sauce you just saw. So basically we are done. Everything came out so well. Like, trust me, everything came out so well. They had chicken, they had the rice, they had salad. So it's left is for you to now bag your food. So if you're going to be cooking for a lot of people, it can either be the buffet style, or it can be like you're going to pack for them to eat. So ours wasn't a buffet style, so we just packed everything into this containers. For the salad, the rice were packed in this plastic container. So a little bit of rice, not a little bit of rice, I think this is enough rice, and then the salad, and then the chicken. Also, note that the quality of rice, how much food everyone gets, and all that is dependent on the budget. The more the money, the more food they can get. Thank you so much for watching. See you in the next video.